Now, it's a week that's seen a number of ceremonies, interfaith services, and wreath-laying ceremonies that have been taking place, all in honor, in remembrance of the late Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. Well, we now cross to our reporter, Samkele Maseko, who's in Cape Town. And this is ahead of this evening's interfaith service to celebrate the life of Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu.
Is holding a memorial service for the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The memorial service is taking place here in the city of Cape Town at the City Hall. You can see they have already set up. The memorial service is expected to get underway at 6 o'clock this afternoon. Shortly, just before we began this live broadcast, they were signaling that a bomb sweep is going to be done, signaling that a head of state and a former head of state will be making their way here to the City Hall to commemorate and celebrate the life of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, whom many people have spoken about profoundly as someone who was a towering figure who spoke against injustice no matter the administration that was in power. From the apartheid government, he spoke very vehemently about the issues of the human atrocities that were being done by the apartheid government on the people of South Africa in this apartheid state, and going on to speak of the various injustices that were happening in the era of President Nelson Mandela, going to former President Thabo Mbeki. He was an advent champion of the HIV, AIDS and the LGBTQI community, and also the profound words that he had against the administration of former President Jacob Zuma. Even when President Cyril Ramaphosa took the helm as head of state, Archbishop Desmond Tutu also did receive the president of the governing party and of the country, who was one of the first dignitaries to go and see the family of Archbishop Desmond Tutu when the news broke that the Archbishop was no more. But he's not only being achieved and celebrated for by a particular government, but all governments, including the government of the Western Cape, the government of the city of Cape Town, led by the Democratic Alliance. You did see Gordon Hill-Lewis, the mayor of Cape Town, also speaking when the news came out that the Archbishop was no more. We are being moved now as a bomb sweep is currently going to be taken here at the City Hall, signaling that a former head of state and a sitting head of state may be making their way to this memorial service starting this afternoon. But my colleague Lulama is outside the precinct of the City Hall monitoring the events taking place there, where citizens of the city of Cape Town and the Western Cape at large are also commemorating and also celebrating the life of Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Over to you, Lulama.
Thanks very much, Samkelo. I'm outside the St. George's Cathedral here in the central business area in Cape Town. What is happening here throughout the week? People have been coming out in numbers to sign books of condolences to the family of Archbishop, as well as another prominent event that has been happening here this week is the ringing of the bells, paying tribute to Arch at 12 o'clock. But for now, I am joined by people who came today to pay tribute to Arch. I'm with Michael now, who's going to tell us why he decided that today, out of all the things that he was doing, he will make time and come and sign and pay tribute to Arch. Michael, why did you decide to come? You can put it in Afrikaans. Michael is saying that he wanted to say Baya Danke to Arch for what he has done. I am also joined by Ingrid. Ingrid, today you decided that you're coming here.
Yes, today it's a very memorable day to me as a young person of the 80s and as a person who were active in activism in South Africa. It was that Arch was one of the best teachers and a teacher for foundation phase, as they call it today, that he brought laughter and love to kids whilst he was like reading stories perhaps to them as well. And he fought with us in the struggle in South Africa. He was a great leader. He was a great theologian. And therefore, I bring tribute to him today. I would say thank you to his wife, Leah, and the children for sharing their father and husband with South Africans, with Africans in Africa, with all the church as well, because he was chosen as a chosen person of God. And therefore it was for me being on the South African Council of Churches on 2 terms for youngsters and for young women and for young development in South Africa. It was like a great experience to work alongside him as a young person, and also alongside him in the All African Council of Churches, in the World Council of Churches. And therefore South Africa is saying goodbye today to a great leader, to a great martyr of the struggle in South Africa and for apartheid. So I am very sad. I am very I can't explain myself today, because it is heartfelt to come and pay tribute to such a great and giant, massive leader of the world, where people have so much respect for his leadership, and the church became to get so much respect for him as a manager in the church. He also showed us how you manage people and how you work with God's children in the church itself. And therefore it is not an easy one to come and say goodbye to Archbishop Tutu today. He was also a great singer and a lover for God's children, in the sense that I couldn't sing Xhosa, but I've learned from him as a young person. And therefore it is for us, as I'm speaking on behalf of young people and the children of South Africa today, that we must really appreciate a leader of this kind. Thank you to the Tutu family. Thank you to the world for always supporting us in this effort of our struggle. And I hope that everything will of the best to the family and to the whole world, whilst we are sad in this time of bereavement to us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ingrid. Also, Diki decided that he's going to give himself some time and come here to pay tribute to Arch.
Yeah, thank you. I decided to come and pay tribute to the Archbishop because he was he was an ordinary man, rose to prominence through his faith, and did not hesitate to talk the truth. I remember during the 80s, he made us believe and understand that God is on the side of poor people. And then whenever you call on him, he would not hesitate to come and assist. I remember how we came to Outbay, where we had a struggle to access land for poor people. He did not hesitate to come when the leaders were locked up, to demand their release and to demand that people have access to land to live. And today I pay tribute to Desmond Tutu for being a whole person, an ordinary person, a fighter for justice. Not everyone agreed with him, but he pushed on. And yes, I'm here to pay tribute to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Peter, those were the people some of the people who came here today to pay tribute to Arch. Some, Peter, are very emotional. They don't even want to speak to us as the media because of the passing of Arch. You saw the lady here, Ingrid, in as much as she was emotional. There's also, you can see the face lightens up, but at the same time, you can see that she becomes emotional when she is talking about the Arch. And also, people who are coming here are people who have worked with Arch in many ways. Some are former activists, who were with him in the struggle, who have learned about the struggle from him and decided to join. There are also, Peter, young people. Yesterday there were young people, young ones, who you can see that they were born after 1994, and they are saying that it's because of what they have learned about him, of what they have heard about him, that also they were touched and decided that they will give themselves some time and come and pay tribute to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. With that, back to you at the studio, Peter.
Lulama, thanks very much indeed. That's our reporter there in Cape Town, Lulama Magia, who's just outside St. George's Cathedral, where people have been streaming in for the past few days, writing their messages of condolence and paying their last respects to the late Desmond Tutu.